So I got a new toy for the workshop. We're going to unbox it. I'm going to try it out and see how well this works. Keeping you guys in suspense. I've been wanting to get one of these for a while, but I didn't want to pay what everyone wanted for one. So let's check it out. That's all it says. This is a soldering station. All in Chinese. As you can see, it's brand new. Everything's all still in the bag. And since I don't read Chinese, the manual is going to be completely useless to me. But it says it's 700 watts. I can read that part. And, well, we'll attach the holder, I guess, goes to the side here. Looks like the holder goes on these screws to hold the air station. It's a hot air station, obviously. And if I can understand the pictures, that goes on like that. So let me just grab a screwdriver and we'll put the screws in to hold the holder on, and I'll try this thing out. I'll try removing some parts from an old scrap board. I'll use that DMX receiver that I have kicking around and see how efficient it is at removing some SMD parts on something that's not going back together. And of course the iron plugs in. I think it's probably pretty self-explanatory on how this works. We've got different size tips that go over the end of the heater assembly. Large, medium, and small. And the tips just go over just like that. And this sits in the holder just like that. So let's start this thing up. I'll go grab something scrap that I can pull some parts off of, and we'll put it to work and see how efficient it is. So here I have that obsolete DMX receiver. It's got some surface mounted chips. Let's try removing them. Let's turn on power on this unit. And then we set the temperature. Set it up to 480 degrees. Why not? I don't even know what temperature I should be having this thing at, but we'll turn it all the way up. We'll crank her up. Excuse me. It's making a farting sound. And it's smoking. It's getting smoking hot. Oh, you can see the heater inside there. It's getting hot. Ooh. Making all kinds of strange noises. Okay, crank this thing up, and it's going to get a pick, and we'll try lifting some of these ICs out and see how easy it is to remove them. So I've got the air temperature set to about 410 degrees Celsius, which is a little over 700 degrees Fahrenheit, and we'll just get the air station down here and heat the chip up and see if we can lift this chip off with ease. and the chip comes off just like that. It's just that easy with a hot air station. I've wanted to get one for a while, but I was waiting to find one that I could get dirt cheap, and I got this one a pretty reasonable price, so that's why I splurged and bought it. Reattaching a chip is also pretty simple. A little bit of flux, and we'll put some flux down on the board here, just where the existing solder is. I haven't even cleaned this up. Normally you would clean this up with like solder wick, but I'm just going to throw some flux on there. I'll put a bit of heat on there to melt it. Take the chip I want to reattach, set it onto the board. Pick up the iron again. It actually cools down, it shuts down when it's been put into the holder, so I gotta let it warm up again. Some more flux on the chip here, and we'll just put the chip back in. Just that simple. And that's how to change a chip using an air station. For you guys that thought I didn't know how to use one, I've used them before. I just didn't have one. Should make changing these little SMD caps a little easier too, right? Rather than cut them out and just heat them up and pick them off. Of course, if you get them too hot, they're going to explode, but they come off quite easy that way. Much easier than doing them the old-fashioned way. If you're wondering why I'm taking these SMD caps off, because I might be able to reuse them for something if they're not shot. This unit not being that old, this is from 2000. Most of these SMD caps would have been fixed by then. The problems with the earlier ones would not exist on these ones, or shouldn't. So I'm going to save these caps. If you're wondering what temperature I'm using, 412 degrees is what I've got it set for. Easy peasy. Pull chips out, pull parts out so easy with one of these. Even these regulators, I'm going to save these regulators. We'll just take them out the same way. Just heat them up. and lift them out. Even things like removing resistors is a piece of cake. Just heat up the lead and lift it out. It even comes in handy when you can't access some screws to take it apart. Just heat the stupid screw up and melt the plastic to get the front cover off. This thing's impossible to open. But if I heat up the screw, I can get the front cover off so that I can take out a few more screws and actually remove the board on this thing. But I'm going to pull some more parts out here, like electrolytic through-hole capacitors. We can certainly do these really easy with this as well. Just heat them up. I'm going to make the board separate. You can see that I've just delaminated the board here from the heat. This is a multi-layer board. That one didn't want to come out quite as easy, but it did. But for the surface mounted stuff, like these surface mounted transistors, they'll pop off real easy. Like that. Same with surface mounted resistors. They'll pop off real easy too. Just heat them up and away they go. Got the jacks out here, no problem. Save those. I'll do the same for the tactile switches, because you never know when you're going to need these, and these switches always come in handy. I'll try pulling these displays off, heating them from the back side. I took a couple tactile switches off, heating them from the back, and they popped off okay. So I'm going to try taking these displays out and see if I can just get them to pop out easily as well. Crank the temperature up maybe. That's the way to do it. Crank the temperature up. Those LEDs fall right off the board. I will keep the IR receiver as well, because they come in handy. I've had those fail before, and I've had to salvage them off other stuff. So I will keep this IR receiver. I've just been practicing pulling some of the big chips off of this board. Not that I don't think I'll be changing big chips on boards. More for the smaller stuff. But it just gives me another tool in the toolbox when working on this stuff. It's not hard to do. The key is just to keep the air moving. Don't stay in one spot too long, and just heat all the way around until you soften the solder, and then it can just lift the chip off. Just lift it off like that. Right, they come off pretty easy. It would have sure made fixing that T-Con board on that Sony TV that I did about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago a heck of a lot easier had I had an AirStation back then, but I didn't want to pay the price that shops were asking for one. And I got this one really reasonable. No, it wasn't free. I bought this from a fella that imports them. But it was a much better price than buying one from one of the electronic retailers and even the online places. I invite you guys to guess what I paid for it, and I'll tell you whoever gets the closest price, I'll tell you. That sure makes taking these chips off real easy. As you can see, just like that. They just lift right off. It's great. The last time I had an AirStation was when I worked in the repair shop, and we had one that was $4,000. If you can imagine paying $4,000 for an AirStation. I didn't get to keep it because the shop owned it, but it had tips on it that were square that would fit. You would just hold it right over top of the IC, and it heated all four sides at once. But really, it didn't do anything more than this does. Those chips are hot. Didn't do anything more than this does, and it wasn't any faster. But you had these custom tips that fit over the end of it for the different ICs, and you just held it in one place, and it heated them up, and you removed them, and you had a different tip for the different sizes of chips. But this sure makes taking these transistors off a breeze. Anyway, if you've hung in here long enough watching me remove parts, then bravo, because I think I would have tuned out a while ago. Here's the chip I took off and put on just as the demo. The first one. With my fresh flux that I put on. Anyway, I think I've probably bored you guys to death, and I'm getting kind of bored with this now. I'm just kind of practicing with this new solder station. We'll see it on future videos when I need it. It's a nice tool to have. As I say, the price on it was certainly good for what I got. So I think I'll get some use out of it. And if enough of you guys watch this video, maybe I'll make enough off this video to pay for it. Anyway, recycled a bunch of parts off of this board. I'm sure some of these parts I'll be able to use. The chips themselves, no, I don't think I'll have much use for them because most of those are custom anyway. But you never know. But some of these coils, possibly diodes, maybe surface mount transistors, possibly. I think the maybe some of the caps that I've saved off here, be able to utilize them. One more I missed on the bottom here. But I think I pretty much got everything off this board that I could possibly ever use. I picked the power jack. Power jacks are always nice to have. And I think that's about it. So thanks for watching. And we'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye. And some bonus footage for those of you that stuck around and didn't tune out. Let's just see what shape these surface mounted caps that I pulled are in. So we'll just check the ESR with the ESR tester and see if they're any good or whether they're shot. 4.9, that's a, what is that? 10 at 16. So that's okay. That's a 1 microfarad. That one's probably okay. Another 1 microfarad. I don't know that I would use these in anything. I just wanted to see what they're like. That one looks like that one's shot. I probably got some of these too warm when I took them out. Yeah, that one's bad. That one's probably bad too. That one's okay. .22, yeah, that one's probably no good. Anyway, you got the drift. 6.6. .3, that one would be good. So some of these are okay. I think some of them I kind of overheated them when I got them out. Probably damaged them, and others may just be no good just because they're surface mounted caps and they've been sitting around for a while. But anyway, I'm definitely going to end it now. There'll be no more bonus footage. Or will there be? No more bonus footage. Anyway, bye. Remember I said no more bonus footage, right? Looks like all the regular caps that I pulled out of the board, they're all fine. So these ones we'll keep. These are good quality Nikon caps. And they've all got very low ESR. So I think these ones here, the surface mounted ones are no good. I won't be hanging on to those. But these ones here certainly will find their way into other projects. As you can see, they're all good. Every one of them has been testing good. So these ones are good.